To each and every one of you guys. I'll give you a piece of scripture real fast. Scripture says, if any man wants to follow me, let him forsake himself, take up his cross, and follow me. When you can take yourself out of the picture and not make yourself the first thing in life, the central figure of everything, you can be able to see life much more clearly and therefore be able to be in tune with reality better. So when Jesus said, if any man wants to follow me, let him forsake himself, take up his cross and follow me. What he's basically saying is, don't let yourself be the center of everything. Yes, you are the observer of life. You are seeing life and everything that's going on in life. But actually, when we get too egotistical and we're just focusing on ourselves without any sort of back end, no rhyme or reason, we just focus on ourselves and everything's about us and everything's about us getting stuff in life and us achieving and us doing this and us. We're not focused on nothing else. We close off that open-mindedness to be able to see the world around us, right? So it's just a perspective. It's just balance. All human beings, we should know this, that we try to look and observe things around us more than just be trying to absorb information. Also, we look for ways to give back because we realize we are not the center of everything, but we are just a part of something, right? Cool. Let's get into what I want to talk to you guys about. So, first of all, Ellie Seckbach was interviewing. He was at the RGB gym, which RGBA I think gym, which is the Robert Garcia Boxing Academy, up in Moreno Valley. I think one is in Moreno Valley, and then another one another place. I think this one's in Moreno. I remember back in 2000 and what was it, 2009. I was down in Moreno Valley. It's close to Riverside. I think he has one up in Riverside as well. So I was on that side, Riverside, Moreno Valley, and so on. I actually met, what's the guy's name? Chris Ariola. I think I met Chris Ariola when we were at Riverside, University of Riverside. They were doing I think it was like a talent thing that was going on. I saw Chris Ariola, tall guy. Big, powerful. I did not realize that was Chris Ariola at the time. Only now I know. But let's talk a little bit about some boxing. So, Moreno Valley, RGBA, Robert Garcia Academy, and Ellie's there. And then lo and behold, who steps up to to Ellie Seckbach, but none other than the great Michael Nunn. And he looks really, really good now. He looks really, really good. The first time I saw him, when he just came out of prison, he looked emaciated. He looks very thin. Now he's filled out. You can see his body. You can see he's well toned and everything. He had a fight, I believe, an MMA fight with an MMA fighter, a legend, and he won that fight. Yeah, after all those years of being in prison, man came out. And he won his fight against the MMA fighter. I think he had another fight before that too, and he won that one too. Michael Nunn, man, Southpaw, needs to go into the Boxing Hall of Fame, ladies and gentlemen. Especially if this second win of his career picks up, and he ends up doing some really good pro fights, and really kind of makes his mark. He's in his 50s, close to his 60s, if he's not in the 60s already, and he's still boxing. And I just want to say again, to all those people out there, because we got Michael Nunn out there, we got Anderson Silva, we got Vito Belfort, we got Mike Tyson. We even saw Roy Jones Jr. do a little stint. All right. If you're an older guy out there and you're doing your boxing, just make sure your D's on point, because that's the thing with boxing. It's all about defense. Once your D's on point, You could fight until you're 100 years old if you can still throw punches and still keep your D together. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the key to boxing. The key to boxing is protect yourself at all times. And if you can protect yourself at all times, you can fight as long as you want. Okay? So back to what I was saying. You may not win all the fights, but you definitely can fight as long as you want. Now, the legendary Michael Nunn. Not only this man, 24 years of his life was taken away from him. A big chunk of his life was taken away from him with this really unfair sentence that he got for something that he should not have been sentenced so long for, being a victim of the system. This man has come out and he is still fighting. That is legendary status, ladies and gentlemen. Legendary status. And I'm going to see how this man's career pans out as it still keeps going. So I look at Michael Nunn and I salute. Hats off to you, brother. They tried to take away something from you, but you decided you was going to keep it going. And so I'm looking forward to seeing what Michael Nunn can do. I do not know what his record was in prison. If he was still boxing, I'm pretty sure he was still boxing in prison. So that would be interesting as well. But I got to say, my hat's off to you, Michael Nunn. Now, Ellie asked Michael Nunn, predictions about fights with Caleb Plant versus Canelo, Wilder versus Fury, and so on and so on. Michael Nunn broke it down real simple. He said, listen, we don't talk about who would win, who would lose. We put them in the ring, and we watch to see what happens. That's how old school guys do it. We don't talk. We just get in there and we mix it up. And you know what the legendary Michael Nunn said is really what most boxers believe as well. They're not going to compare themselves to people who they have not fought. That's why you don't really hear Floyd Mayweather say, I would beat this guy or I beat that guy. He says instead, I'm a better boxer than this guy or I'm a better boxer than that guy. He would say those things, but he knows that if there's a guy that he can never face in his life, what's the sense talking about it if I can't face him? I can't face him, I can't beat him, right? So I can't prove to you that I am as good as I am. So what's the sense talking about it? So there's a school of thought like that out there, and I see them, and I see the real boxer people in boxing who talk about it that way as well. And I always say, don't tell me, show me, right? So you want to say you the best? Well, then show me you the best. You know what I mean? So that's real when it comes to boxing. That's what we focus on in boxing, right? Now, I wanted to point out that Michael Nunn, who comes from the old school of boxing, been boxing long before Robert Garcia picked up a pair of gloves, before Floyd Mayweather, before Manny Pacquiao, before all them guys, right? Michael Nunn's there. And this is a legend from a bygone era, from the 80s. This is the dude from the 80s, like Sugar Ray Leonard's time and stuff. In fact, Michael Nunn was seen as the carryover of Sugar Ray Leonard. They thought he was going to be the guy to carry the torch. He was very difficult to fight because, again, southpaw, coming from the southpaw stance. And he was talking about how he was trained by Joe Goosen. He was Joe Goosen's first successful world champion. And, the thing about Michael Nunn that I really am impressed with is, after all these years, and after going through all he has gone through, the man is so on point with his boxing, with his knowledge, and just, great conversation, talk to different people. And what I love about the world of boxing is, guys in this fraternity, they move between each other. So, of course, Robert knows him very well and so on. And, when I think of a guy like the caliber of Michael Nunn, and I hope to see what kind of fights he fights. Even now, he's not as sharp and as fast as he used to be, but probably with better nutrition, food, and all that, he'll get even more up to par. So I'm really looking out for this dude and see how this gentleman, how he does in the sport of boxing and what kind of fights he will take. But he's fighting anybody from, I think it's 185 all the way up to 200. So we're talking cruiserweight, basically cruiserweight status, I think is where he's at really right now. But very impressive is Michael Nunn. And we'll see where he goes from here. Man is a legend already, but he's going to add to his legacy. And just imagine if by some freak of imagination, this man becomes a world champion again. Oh man, that would be crazy. That would be nuts. So we'll see. He would definitely be the oldest world champion, period, in the sport of boxing, if that ever happens. And you never know. He looks really good. He looks really good. He looks in shape as well, big, strong. So you never know. He might teach these youngsters a thing or two. You know what I mean? You never know. Going into RGBA, before I go into there, I'm going to sidetrack. I'm going to walk off to the side a little bit. Talk about Devin Haney. By the way, my name is What You Need. You're watching my channel, What You Need. If you like this video, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. You can also donate via Western Union or MoneyGram. Let's get it popping. So, the other thing is, you can also speed up this video to 2x if you find this a little too long, because we've been talking for 11 minutes now. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about was Devin Haney. Now, I'm hearing that Ellis covered this. He said Devin Haney is going to be facing some guy from the UK. And I'm asking myself, what the heck is Devin Haney doing? Why is it we're not getting no fight with JoJo Diaz? JoJo Diaz is now available. JoJo Diaz don't have no opponent. Why are we not talking about Devin Haney versus JoJo Diaz, since Ryan Garcia ducked out on JoJo Diaz? He's talking about facing Gamboa. Why are we not hearing about Devin Haney versus JoJo Diaz? Make that fight happen. Golden Boy. Devin Haney Promotions. Let's get it. DHP. Golden Boy. Let's get it. Let's get it. We want to see JoJo Diaz versus Devin Haney. That's going to be a stiff test for Devin Haney. I want to see it. I don't understand why this fight should not happen. This is the fight that should happen. Make the fight happen. Okay? What, JoJo's going to be facing somebody else with the eliminator instead of Ryan Garcia? Come on, man. We got to find out what's going on, man. Devin Haney versus JoJo Diaz. That's what I want to see. I want to hear about no Devin Haney versus nobody else. He should be stepping up in competition. JoJo Diaz, former world champion, is in his prime. Let's see it. All right. Let's move back. RGBA. So, Robert Garcia, not Ryan Garcia, so I said R. Garcia, and he said something like, Robert Garcia was saying that he felt, because Ellie Seckback asked Robert Garcia, do he think that Floyd is the greatest of all time? Because, of course, I talked about this. And I said, Floyd got to be the greatest of all time. If you say Manny Pacquiao the greatest of all time, then fuck yes. Absolutely, Floyd got to be. He beat Pacquiao. He beat Canelo. Them is two great fighters, bar none. Canelo is in his prime. Pacquiao wasn't in his prime when he faced him, but it doesn't matter because Pacquiao did some crazy shit after that and became world champion. How many times after he was beaten by Floyd? Let's see. 1, 2, 3 times. He 3 times he became world champion after being beaten by Floyd at welterweight. Okay, he beat Timothy Bradley to get back the to reclaim the WBO title after Timothy Bradley beat Jesse Vargas for the vacant title that was stripped from Floyd. And then he went back to beat Jesse Vargas, who Jesse Vargas got the vacant title because Timothy Bradley retired after that. And so Jesse Vargas got the WBO title, and therefore Manny Pacquiao fought Jesse Vargas and beat him and got back the WBO title because Manny Pacquiao had retired, came back out of retirement and beat Jesse Vargas. And then several years after he had gotten beaten by Jeff Warren, lost the WBO title, he came back to regain a secondary title of that by beating Lucas Matisse. And then he went on to challenge the man in the WBA, which was Keith Thurman, who had the super title, right? And he beat Keith Thurman at the age of 40 to become the WBA super champion at welterweight. That's 3 times this motherfucker gained championship status after he was beaten by Floyd Mayweather. So I want to hear shit about Pacquiao was too old or it was too late, 5 years too late, and all this baloney bullshit, because it wasn't. Okay, it wasn't. And in fact, I think it was the best time. I keep on maintaining, and I will say this again, if Mayweather faced Manny Pacquiao in 2010, he was going to knock him out. Why? Manny Pacquiao walks into check hooks all day long. Floyd was check hooking him all night long in 2015. Now imagine a younger Floyd and a more reckless Pacquiao leaping in, using the stutter step and leaping into Floyd. Just think about what I'm saying, and just think about in 2007, Floyd was still kind of like, he was at the end of his prime, but still he was kind of still athletic, right? Think of 2007, Ricky Hatton leaping into Floyd, getting caught with a check hook, and Floyd was catching with check hooks all night, but he leaped into Floyd, and Floyd caught him with a check hook, and he knocked out himself by running into the turnbuckle. Now, let's just think about this. Round number 2, Manny Pacquiao comes leaping into Floyd, and he check hooks Manny Pacquiao on the top of the head. He didn't catch him on the jaw like how he did with Ricky Hatton. He caught him on the top of the head. In fact, most of the time when Floyd was check hooking Manny Pacquiao in the 2015 fight, he keep on catching him on the top of the head, right? Right. Imagine a younger Floyd, because Floyd was, he was a lot more sloppy. I mean, he was older than Manny Pacquiao in 2015, okay? He was 38, Pacquiao was 35, right? Or 36, whatever it was. But the point is, Pacquiao keep on running into those check hooks. Now imagine Manny Pacquiao facing Floyd in 2010. He running into them same check hooks, but this time Floyd more accurate. He's sharper. He's younger, so he's, oh, come on, man. He'd have get knocked out, man. Floyd would have knocked out Pacquiao. Knocked him out. Then he wouldn't be the big star that he was in 2015. Yeah, Marquez knocked him out, but then imagine Floyd knocking him out. Just imagine it. Floyd knocking him out. Floyd knocked down Marquez. He knocked down Marquez. Okay? Pacquiao faced Floyd at the end of Floyd's career. Y'all not even thinking, right? Y'all thinking it's all about Floyd. Floyd's at the end of his career when Pacquiao faced him. He had one more fight and that was it. He never faced another pro boxer after that. Right? He faced Floyd at the end of Floyd's career. Okay? But it's all about Floyd faced Pacquiao too late. What kind of stupid thing is that? Okay? Pacquiao wasn't ready for Floyd. He had to wait till Pacquiao wasn't ready for Floyd. And Bob Arum will even tell you. Bob Arum will tell you. Pacquiao wasn't ready for Floyd. Right? Terrence now ready for Sean, but Terrence wasn't always ready for Sean. All right? He knew his fighter, Manny Pacquiao, could have gotten knocked out in 2010. I don't care how much PEDs he had in his body. He was going to get knocked the fuck out. Floyd was going to knock him out. Okay, so y'all saying, well, how do you know that? Well, because they matched up. And Pacquiao, like he couldn't miss. Like the check hook was saying, come to me. Floyd was check hooking him the entire night. He keep on walking into the check hooks. Okay? So, I mean, this ain't no rocket science. Floyd would have knocked him out like he knocked out Ricky Hatton. I don't care if he had PEDs or not. He was going to get knocked the fuck out. Okay? Floyd would have had another knockout on his resume. And then all this Manny Pacquiao hype would have gone. You know how Floyd take the air out the sails, and y'all would have been saying, Pacquiao, he ain't nothing. You know how y'all like to clown fighters after they lose to Floyd. Y'all still clowning Canelo after he lost to Floyd. And he the best fighter in the world right now. So, when Robert Garcia said, and his claim was this, right? His claim was, if you're looking at the undefeated record and you're looking at good business and the amount of money that was made, Floyd the greatest at that. But then he don't consider him the greatest. He thinks Pacquiao greater than him. Pacquiao, come on, man. Come on, man, Robert Garcia. Now, I don't have a problem saying Pacquiao the greatest. I don't have a problem saying it. I don't even have a problem saying he's the greatest of all time. If you take in a factor, it depends on what factors you take in. If you take in how many divisions he went through, if you take in how exciting his fights were, if you take in all of the extracurricular things he do outside of boxing to this day, you have a claim for the greatest. No doubt about it. How many opponents he took on. Top tier opponents, right? Of course you got a claim, Robert. But if you're being honest with yourself, boxing wise, he ain't greater than Floyd. There's just no way. Floyd Mayweather's name carry way more weight than Manny Pacquiao's, showing you that Floyd Mayweather is greater. Ain't nobody coming around saying, oh man, Manny Pacquiao, man. You know what? Manny Pacquiao is, Manny Pacquiao fight coming up. Oh, that fight gonna make real money. That won't kill. No, nobody's saying that. You know why? Pacquiao's not greater than Floyd. And it had nothing to do with just the money value. It has to do with the cachet, the weight put on Floyd Mayweather's name. And yes, it has something to do with the O, but it also has to do with the fact that Floyd has never been beaten. That Floyd always beaten ass. And as much as we see all the hate, it's mostly coming from Filipino people, right? And then it trickles down to people who are jealous of Floyd, right? As much as we see that hate factor out there right now, and universally, Manny Pacquiao is more loved and appreciated. There are people who hate Pacquiao, right? But we mostly love and appreciate Pacquiao. He's going to be president of the Philippines very soon. And we appreciate him. We love and appreciate him. Most people love and appreciate Pacquiao. But it ain't reflect bad on Floyd that most people, that a lot of people love and appreciate Floyd, but there are people who hate him and try to bring down his record and try to destroy him. But that had nothing to do with Floyd. That has to do with the people who butthurt that Floyd beat their fighter and he didn't lose. They butthurt about that. So there's a different sort of reaction of Floyd because he never lost in the professional ring. All right. I mean, in the amateurs, he lost, obviously. And he lost in life and he lost different things. All right. He lost a lot of stuff. But we're talking about he lost his wife. He lost his uncle. He has a lot of losses. Right. But ultimately, in the end, professionally, he has never lost. And you really can't really make a case for any fight that he's lost. Y'all can make claims, but usually the claims are wild. Y'all can make claims that he not TBE, but they are wild claims. Right? Because you just look at his record and his stats and you watch his fights and you say that nah, this guy just clear, So it is what it is. But anyway, back to what I was saying. So Robert Garcia, he's saying that Pacquiao was a greater fighter than the other fighters that were greater than Floyd. Listen, man, I'm gonna say this. I'll be honest with you guys, right? It's not a popular opinion, but if you're talking about the greatest of all time, let me put you this way, because Michael Nunn's up in that picture. But I'm going to put it to you this way. When you talk about great fighters, there are a lot of great fighters, period. Let's just start with that. There's a lot of great fighters. But if anybody could be called the greatest and have claim to that, it's Floyd. He got claim to it. It's not a very popular opinion because you still have the elements out there that don't like Floyd. But give it 5 more years. And I bet you 5 years time, people are going to be singing those praises. Why? It already happening. People are already accepting that he's TBE. Now, people are going to call him the great. Because the further away you move from the incident, it was weird, but it is what it is the less controversy you get and the more people accept. Because when people go back and watch, there's no biased eyes, there's no influence. People looking at this like, this guy just crazy, man. This guy's good. They just watching footage and start researching him, and then they say, oh man, this guy, this is the greatest fighter I've ever seen. Right? That's how it goes. But he got claimed to being the greatest. Absolutely. More than Pacquiao, because he beat Pacquiao. He don't beat Pacquiao, he beat everybody he faced. There is you can't make a claim of nothing. He faced beat more top tier fighters than Pacquiao. Right? He beat all the fighters that he faced. So nobody ever beat him. So there's no claim that you could say that Pacquiao greater than Floyd. Because people come with this claim. They come with the claim that, oh, well, Norton beat Ali. He beat Ali. You could argue 3 times. But Ali is greater than Norton. Yeah, he's greater than Norton because he beat everybody else. And he beat, including Norton. Right? He got his get back on Norton. Officially. So he beat Norton. So Norton can be greater than him. right? Because Norton lost to this guy and this guy and this guy and this guy. Norton lost to people. Ali lost to, in his whole entire career, he lost to 4 guys or 5 guys, I think it is. And 2 of those guys, he was past it when them guys whooped his ass, right? He was past it, right? But besides his accomplishments, Ali whooped ass. Ali beat everybody he faced except for a few guys at the end of his career. Trevor Burbick and Larry Holmes. Them the only 2 guys Ali didn't beat. Trevor Burbick and Larry Holmes. Everybody else got it. He beat everybody else he faced. Yeah, they might have got a 1-up on him. You know, Spinks got a 1-up on him. Frazier got a 1-up on him. And then Larry Holmes and Trevor Burbick. That's it. It's 4 people in his entire career. All right, and the only people he didn't advance was Burbick and Holmes. Okay? That was the only 2. And Holmes was a sparring partner. So he knew Ali's style. Okay? So you can't look at Ali, oh yeah, Norton arguably beat him 3 times. Which means what? Officially, Ali beat Norton's ass 2 times. Unofficially, I thought he beat him once. The second fight. 3rd fight, Norton got robbed. But the point is, at the end of the day, Ali's the greatest because he beat almost all the asses. He beat almost everybody. That's why. That's why the greatest of his era. Norton's not going to be greater than him. So the same with Floyd. Floyd beat everybody. Everybody. There's nobody that Floyd didn't beat. So obviously he's the greatest of his era. Pacquiao didn't beat them guys that Floyd beat. Right? Pacquiao, and then on top of that, the greatest of our era right now, the greatest of this era right now, which is Canelo, who's whooping ass. The only person he didn't beat was Floyd. So Floyd not only beat the greatest guys of his era, but he beat the present greatest guy of this era. And you fuck out of here, man. He's the greatest. He's the greatest. Okay? That's what we talk about. Floyd is greater than, by miles, greater than Pacquiao. And they'll come with those lame ass excuses. Oh, he picked and chooses fighters. What the fuck does that mean? If I'm picking and choosing the best to face, because I have the prerogative to pick and choose, so I pick the best. Isn't that what it's all about in boxing? The best facing the best? Well, he cherry picked Miguel Cotto, and he cherry picked Canelo, and he cherry picked Pacquiao. What the fuck does that mean? Canelo was the best super welterweight. Cotto was the best super welterweight. Pacquiao was the best welterweight out there. What are you talking about? Cherry picked. See what I'm saying? It make no sense. Like the excuses that these people make, they make no sense. But let's get them to the other point of Robert Garcia. Now, Robert Garcia, once again, if you like what you like, you like what you like. So if you like the action that Pacquiao brought to the table, that's part of entertainment. You know, Pacquiao was generally speaking in action-packed fights. The only action-packed fight he wasn't really in, he didn't do much action in, Timothy Bradley fight, Marcus or one Marcus or 2 fight, Mayweather fight, Broner fight, right? Generally, when he's facing a defensive fighter, he don't throw that much because he's gonna miss much, right? So he's not as busy. But having said that, right, Manny Pacquiao is one of the greatest fighters of all time. Period. Just it is what it is. So if you want to call him the greatest of all time, I ain't got a problem if you call him the GOAT. There's several GOATs. So, you know. But don't tell me Mayweather is not a GOAT and he not greater than Pacquiao. That to make no damn sense. All right? In no way. In no way, shape, or form. Of course he's greater than Pacquiao. All right? It is what it is. And then not just skill-wise. You look at the opponent's Mayweather face. You look at the opponent's Pacquiao face. And you look at the opponent's Mayweather beat. and you look at the opponents Pacquiao beat, I mean, they share some, but even then, the opponents were better off when Mayweather faced them than when they faced Pacquiao. Only one I can think of that's an exception is Juan Manuel Marquez. Marquez always was Marquez. Just that Floyd beat Marquez easier than Pacquiao ever had a time with Marquez. See what I'm saying? That's what it is. It's boxing. So yeah, that was the last one with the RGBA. I mean, Robert Garcia, he's open to have his preference. You know, if he thinks he prefers, Pacquiao as a fighter, it's your preference, and you could call him greater because of that. But when it comes to hardcore facts, no, bro. No, bro. Pacquiao ain't nowhere near the vicinity of Mayweather, man. Mayweather, just them two names, Canelo and Pacquiao. It's tremendous names. Tremendous names in the sport of boxing. This man beat both of them. So they no way Pacquiao better than Floyd. Because Floyd beat him and then he beat Canelo. That's two big names. Do you understand that? That's two great fighters. Canelo's going to be a great fighter. No matter if Caleb Plant beat him. He already a great fighter. Right? So, I mean, this ain't rocket science, man. This is not rocket science. I'm going to catch you guys later on What You Need. There was something else I was supposed to talk about. I'm going to get to it. I know it's not in the title, but there's something else I have to talk about. Let's see if I can get it. Teofimo Lopez versus Kambosos. So we know that fight is off. Triller wasn't able to pull it off. Kambosos didn't agree to the 16th. So the fight's off. What can I say? I'm going to say this. Teofimo Lopez tried to do things and sort of carry on in a manner in which he was dictating everything. He was working along with Triller somewhat, but that fight was put off by Triller a number of times. And Teofimo Lopez sort of guilty of having these fights be put off. He said he had COVID and whatever. I don't even think if Teofimo Lopez looked like he's interested in facing Kambosos, to be honest with you. Kambosos. Doesn't look that way. And anyway, what I do know is Kambosos is not fighting on Triller. And it's just a bad situation. That fight should have gone through the first time. And it was delayed because first it was Tio with the COVID, and then venue they couldn't find or finalize the venue. And then Tio was asking for more money all of a sudden, or Kambosos one of them. And don't look like when it was put off that they could get more money. So then Kambosos started to write letters to the IBF, and Triller responded. I think Triller is trying to do what it do. I'm not quite sure how good they do business, but they promised some really big purses for both guys. And apparently Kambosos got hungry for more money. Like, you just keep on asking for more money. I don't know if it's upfront money he needed for traveling expenses or whatever, but Man, this stuff went south real quick. What am I going to say? Well, apparently Teofimo Lopez and his dad are not going to be successful with the Triller thing. And it looks like Bob Arum's Top Rank is going to be hosting their next fight. And it looks like it's not going to be Cambosis. It looks like it's going to be, oh, maybe it'll be Cambosis in Australia. So maybe that's how that goes down. Or it could be that Lomachenko might get his rematch. Who knows? Who's to say? But we will see. We will see. But we're having a Top Rank. They need to make money, so they're going to have to move smart. So we'll see how they do what they do. I am what you need. Deuces, people.